Caleb, are we set?
All set.
I'd like to open the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust meeting for February 9th, 2026. And I will start by anyone here for public comment? Matt, if you...
Thank you. I'm not sure of the specific agenda. I would probably like to talk to a specific line item. But
Okay,
if
tell
I
me.
may, if you'd rather I
Wait until that, we bring that back then, if that's, well,
Okay,
you can talk to them when we have the agenda item then.
have PO4.
Okay,
I'm asking.
Do you want to see the agenda?
I haven't seen the
okay.
Here.
What's the item?
We're not talking about Pine Oaks 4.
I don't want to hold you up. May I have?
No, we're not talking
Yeah.
about Pine
I'll
Oaks,
sit in. I may just sit in here.
but don't take my agenda away from me.
Sorry?
I want my agenda back, though.
Okay.
And so the meeting comes to a screeching halt.
While Matt is looking at our agenda then,
Any other public comment?
any other public comment?
Oh, well, you have a couple of old business season Ds. I can jump in there.
Okay, good.
I apologize for some.
Yeah. New business then was Brianna was going to request funding to help her on the a program on housing, regional housing services. And she called me this morning to let me know that she's not feeling well today, so she wants to postpone that discussion until our next meeting.
Okay.
Larry, can I just read the section that Brianna had sent about this?
Now that she's going to present
You wanna
herself
wait?
next meeting,
Okay,
we'll
all right.
go ahead and we'll wait.
That's fine.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is I asked that we review the legal review of Bassett Lane at 456 Queen Anne Road property. The reason I've asked for this is that we've had questions, as ZBA has, on the Bassett Lane, which is a paper road on the northern side of 456 Queen Anne Road property. And the thought is that it would be, is there a possibility we could use that road as a access, possibly on Oak Street on one side? On the other side, I know ZBA is expressed an interest, could we allow that access going to 124 if it were right turn only? That would divert property away from that intersection and go the other way. I met with Christine Flynn, our town planner, and even though it's a paper road, she and we talked about it, and I agree with that, would be more comfortable if we had a legal opinion on that, exactly what is our right on the Bassett Lane Road. In my further discussion with Christine on who should make that request, should it be the her to the town administrator or the trust, they, being Christine and Tony, got back to me and said it'd be best if that came from the trust to request that opinion. To digress a bit, we have signed an agreement with an attorney, Lisa Mead, to review the Harwich Junior Theater lease and look at how we move forward on that. And that's in place. And the basis is on an hourly charge. And I sent you the fee agreement. I think it's $225 an hour for her to review the Harwich Junior Theater trust lease, or the Harwich Junior Theater lease. I talked to Lisa this morning. She can take this on. She can add this to our agreement because it's not specific for the junior theater. And if you're in agreement, what I'd like to do is to, and she can take this on the Bassett Lane review. I would like to move to authorize her to, in addition to the junior theater, review the Bassett Lane paper road on 456 Queen Anne.
I'll second that motion.
Well, so moved.
Any other discussion?
Second.
Let me add, before we vote, one comment that I need to make as well is timing. There's some pressure. It'd be good to have this Bassett Lane review done in short time, because it comes up, that's one of the questions that ZBA asked, and their next meeting is, I think, 2.5 weeks. And so there's a chance that Lisa could get on that. She doesn't think it'll take much time to just clarify the Bassett Lane, what our town rights are. So that'd be my only other point to make. We have a vote in a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll proceed on that then. I asked Bob to put on the agenda, discussion potential use of 456, the northern part of that. And that's because that came up, I know it's come up with me personally in discussions about, we're doing the southern portion with the property. What's our intention for the northern side? And that comes up as a ZBA point too. And my response has been, well, we haven't gone that far yet. We're taking one parcel at a time to not get ahead of ourselves. We really wanted to get the Penrose property well on its way before we consider something else. And I'm throwing this out for discussion. My view is, though, that even though we're not ready to do it, now would be the time to throw that out to the public and make a public statement that we're looking at it and ask for input on, how would they, what? We get input into, put that on the website, how would we do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what would be suggestions from the public on how we could best use that property? I know we've thrown out ideas about sharing it with conservation, about putting affordable single-family homes in there. But now would be the time, since we're not ready to do anything yet. So I don't expect to do anything today, I just wanted to open the discussion. And so, I'm just gonna ask each of us your thoughts on that approach. Bob?
I think any serious discussion about that question is premature.
So sorry.
I really believe that we have to see how Penrose and 456 begins to flesh itself out.
Yeah.
Because I think that there may well be things that we can see the need for when we have the creation that we're anticipating creating. So I think that any real discussion about what's next up there is way premature.
Okay. But you and Matt, because about generating some ideas, at least in this point,
I'm-
even with the understanding that we're not doing anything.
Never against generating ideas.
Okay, Bob. Claudia?
Um,
Sorry, I didn't want to push on that.
yeah, no, that was good. I was good clarifying. I think, I like the idea. I think we've got a lot of progress we made in the last few weeks. So it would be great to kind of check in with the, folks in town to see, okay, so that's, some of the things that we've put forward, what would they like to see next, right? Like you were saying, whether it's more home ownership options versus rental, right? Single family versus conservation, all of that, or all together, right? Like we've done in the past, some sort of combination, so.
Yeah.
I think that sounds great. I wonder about can you, I know we talked about this a long time ago, but in Chatham, they used to send out, when I was living there, they would send out surveys, so they would kind of throw out some different ideas. I don't know if there's something like that, just in terms of really getting input, instead of just I know when we've done these in the past, we sometimes can tend to get the same people inputting, but it would be nice if there was an easy way for people to chime in, but.
That's a great idea.
we could see.
Let's explore that.
Okay,
Shall we do it?
okay.
Brendan?
Yeah,
What's going
could
on?
I share my packet that I put together?
Sure.
Is that possible? Thanks. I think it'd be fun to
Nice to
start.
have someone prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bob.
I think it'd be fun to start talking about it now. I think we start the conversation. It'd be great to bring the public in after we decide. I think we've done a lot as far as the rental and moving to home ownership is something we could focus on. The power of having the land or owning the land, just like with Penrose, we can dictate the terms when we do our RFPs. So we wanted 80% AMI, we got that. So if you take a look at what I put together, and this has a lot going off what Larry he's already done most of the work with Christine, but I was gonna ask for permission to take this on to speak with the town administrator or with the town planner to see the feasibility of the paperwork I put together.
Okay.
So the first part of it, the properties, I did some zoning information. It sits in RR and RL. And this is an idea for home ownership that we could do by right. It doesn't have to be through the 40B process. Yes, we'll have a lottery and everything else, make sure it's done with the fair housing marketing plan. But I just want to give you a sense of the property and what could be put there. So it sits in RR and RL, and there's setbacks, 150 foot frontage, your typical front setback of 25, and sides are 20 and 20. And then the use table, if you were to do multifamily there, that would, fall to the planning board. In the next page, if you look at the top field, this is the whole upper field, and what's in yellow is the R5. That is the piece of land that hopefully the select board could transfer to us. If they do, we're gonna have roughly about 8 acres of land to play with. It's maybe 8.5 plus or minus. And I just did a quick scale. It was tough to get accurate measurements. And then the next page is what sits below. This is Penrose. The next page explains the multifamily special permit process. When you look at section 2, the 32555, that's site plan review. So that will come up a lot when you're looking at this, just so in case you didn't know. So the land is, map 82, parcel R5, and that's, hopefully the vote that was done on the select board on January 12th. They are gonna set aside for affordable housing, and hopefully they can transfer that. But that'll be in one of the steps, meeting with town planner, getting Bassett Lane as a viable, and then go to the select board and say, this is what we're doing with it. And then also to address what Larry said about the ZBA, what's gonna happen to the fields above. The next page is where it gets a little fun. So what I did here is I just laid out 5 lots. And these are all acre lots. They could be 40,000 square feet, but I did just full acres. But this gives you a sense of what can be done up in those upper fields. So you can have 5 lots, you can have 5 single homes, subdivision, whatever planning wants to do, and you can do these all by right. And how do we get there? How do we build them? Well, actually, take a look at lot number 2. You get 150 feet across the front, 190 feet deep. So the lots are a good size. But if you look at lot number 4, you see the structure I put in, and I have the setbacks, the 20, 20, and 25. That structure, that is 2 homes put together very similar to the Davenport properties on Queen Anne Road, which I have a picture on that if you want to skip 2 more pages.
Yeah.
Kind of out of order. Those are the Davenport properties, but that's a multifamily situation or condos. So those buildings can fit, and you could put 10 of those. Or you could just do a single-family home. And back to the next page, the page before that. I'm sorry. If I'm talking too fast, let me know. So I'm thinking, we don't need to build, obviously, big homes. These are gonna be starter homes, under 1,300 square feet to keep the cost down, with a potential buy-down program. And this is all really based on, if you look at my notes on this page, it's based on Bassett Lane's viability, the select board transferring the lots to us, and then requesting, which Larry's already put forward, the town administrator to help us to see if this is even a viable idea. And it could be 5 to 10 units. If you go to the last, the mortgage calculator.
Brendan, can I ask,
Yeah, sure.
can you, what was the buy-down part of that? Do you mind just, I was just focusing on the.
Yeah, that's next.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
thanks, okay,
If you want to jump to the next page.
yeah.
So when I look at a property for 1,300 square feet, what the build would be, $450 per square foot on a build. You're talking $577,000 to potentially build these units. And we could do a buy-down program where we're giving 200 to 227 to get the number down to 350. And why is 350 significant? Well, if you take a look at it, you can see that monthly payment is 2127, and that's with 0 down. Depends on how we want to make the programs work. And so $350,000 for a buyer with 80%, and these could be 100% AMI. They don't have to be 80. They don't have to hit the shy list if we don't want them to. And then the trust would come in with a buy down. Of course, they would be deed restricted. There would be a lottery, perpetuity, 50-year. And then you're also getting home ownership. So you're going to have qualified buyers. They're going to be getting mortgages for that 350. And that number kind of works on the 30% rule on gross income. When you jump down, what's in it for the person buying it with a deed restriction in home ownership? This is a program that a lot of my friends, this is going back almost 25 years now, in the city, where they did, when they did renovations of bigger buildings, they had a 10% rule of affordable. But they did 5% compounded interest. So for example, if you look down below, if someone were to sell this in year 5, it would go back into the lottery. They could, the attainability, they can move up into different housing or stay. But you could see they'd have some skin in the game. Obviously, if the market prevails, that it is worth that in year 5. So they'll be able to have a nest egg after 20 years of equity in a home. And then down below that, I put in, so developer, how's the trust get some money back, which is always interesting. We could sell the lots for $10,000. We could sell them for $50,000, but you have to make the numbers work. That's why I think the square footage being smaller, and then if you do multifamily, you can have 10 units. So there's that process as well. Will the town do a 50% assessed tax reduction on, and also on the building fees with the select board? And then the last page is really just showing, where this is the most recent 2025 income limit documentation. This is really for rentals, but I think it still can apply, where you have a median family income of $336,000. When you do that math, I think the magic number is really $300,000 per unit, but let's say it is $350, or, maybe the trust kicks in more. But you could do a buy-down program, you could have home ownership. There's potential that we could do this by right. You could do 80 to 100% AMI, and make it all work. And some units can hit the shy list as well, if you want to do the 25% rule. Whether it's a subdivision, that's the stuff I haven't got further enough.
Well.
But I just want to tell you what I've been working on. This is,
Okay.
a year, and I've been thinking about this, and
Okay.
it's a good time to present it. So.
Anyway, my only comment, thank you, Brendan.
Mhm.
This is great. My only comment, I guess, maybe getting back to Bob's point a little bit, is that, that's like step 2, once we ask for what some general ideas
Yeah.
are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I'm wondering if, to what extent do we put this out as one possibility for people to look at? So this look on the survey idea, maybe we can play with how we approach it, because it's an
Yeah.
interesting concept. The only part that I'm struggling with is be sure we take that, but we don't shut the door to other ideas.
I think that's
And
fine.
that's
Yeah.
not your intent, I know.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we just need to move to home ownership. I think we have the power to do it because we have the land. Right now, the state is not allocating any funds for home ownership, and there's nowhere in sight that they're going to be doing that. They're really focused on the big 40B stuff, 50 to 60, LIHTC money. So this is, we have a lot going on. We have potentially 315 units between what's going on in West Harwich, the fire station, Penrose, Pine Oaks, if it goes all 5 phases. And it'd be nice to move on to a home ownership model. And if we can create something, and like I said, I think we can do it by right, but we have to go through the process. But I think the idea starts with us. It's great to have the public come in. I would definitely want that. But it'd be nice
We
to
can-
present a home ownership, and if someone thinks differently.
We can, let's see how we do that to do both, because part of my idea, enough said. Jeff?
It's nice to look at Brendan's face for a change,
Oh,
not
yeah,
the
yeah,
back of his
yeah,
head
yeah.
the whole time.
Well, next time, so.
So, I would agree with Brendan. Well, let me back up. Great packet, great information. Is this found in our agenda anywhere, this packet?
No.
Okay. I would really suggest for the public that when something, a one-pager may not have to hit the packet, but something of this substance, while we're talking about it, would be very helpful for the public to be able to follow along with what we're looking at. So I would like to see that in the packet moving forward. That being said, I agree. I think it's this trust's obligation to determine the direction of which this trust is going to move. Public input, obviously extremely important and coveted. I would say that we certainly in the last several weeks or months have had plenty of public information so that we could begin the conversation knowing where the public wants us to be moving, in what direction. So I would say that it could start with us, and then invite the public in to have their, listen to their input. If I could ask a question to Brendan, Mr. Chair, through you, regarding something you had mentioned about a buy-down program, and you're honestly, you're a wealth of information with this stuff, and the amount of work you do is really impressive. I'm gonna ask you about, I think I have a good idea, but maybe for the public, can you explain a little bit better, at least to me, the long-term commitments that, of a buy-down program? Like, you mentioned perpetuity, you mentioned lottery, you mentioned what's in it for the buyer. Clear it up a little for me. When this trust funds a buy-down program, what does that entail in terms of restrictions, regulations? What does it trigger, if you don't mind?
I mean, that's a big question. Give it to me one more time, just.
So when I hear buy-down program, I hear that the trust is going to be putting money forward to a buy-down program. By the use of those funds on a buy-down program, what does that mean in terms of that specific home? Is that deed restricted for forever, and how so? And that's kind of what I'm asking.
I mean, it can be deed restricted forever. You could do a 50-year, and if the person stays there 50 years, then maybe they just own it outright.
Okay.
So you could do it. You could do it however you want to do it. I think it's up to the trust to make sure it always stays in perpetuity. I think that's what the driving force is going on right now, especially with the LAUs, and I think that's important to have. But yeah, to your question about
Lottery for a buy-down program?
lottery, anything we do, we probably should do, because that's the affirmative, fair marketing housing. But that's
Yeah.
something we should always be doing to make sure that it's done correctly. But the buy-down program is really to incentivize the developers to come to the table. So this particular project, even if you did just 5 units, there's $1 million worth of dollars that are and the builder is building it at cost, and the buy-down money really goes to them. So think of it that way. And then the owners are gonna come in and be able to purchase that house at $350. So let's say they try to sell it the next year. They want out, it didn't work out for them. It goes back into the lottery, and they can pull 5%. And that's just a number. You can do 2%, 3%, or nothing. But it's home ownership. You gotta have a little something in the end, I think, for.
Well, I
if you're
agree with
gonna
that.
be- Yeah.
And who would be holding the loan?
The loan, you'd have to get your own loan.
You'd have to go
Yeah.
get your own loan, secure your own loan.
Correct. You'd be a qualified buyer, 80%, 100% MI. You're talking a single person making $74,840 to a family of 4, making $136,000. And you take that number, do the math, and, it could work. That, if you look at, what the West Harwich School, those 1-bedrooms are renting at $2,003 with utilities. So I think the buy-down program has to get the mortgage to like 300 to 325-ish to make the numbers work. Whether or not you have down payments or not, but that, you're talking
Well,
someone.
that's on the lender and the
Yeah,
and
that's the
and
lender,
buyer.
but you have to be a qualified person. To be a lottery, for the example I mentioned with, 25 years ago, all my friends, we did it, and I think I was 1,500 on the list. My friend Glenn and his sister were number 7 and 9.
Wow.
And because the people in front of them weren't qualified to get the loans, they got both the units, and they're still there today.
Okay.
Yeah, and they live right in the north end of Boston. So it was a great program that the BRA set up, Boston Redevelopment Authority set up, that they, even though they're over their 10% in Boston, they still require any new buildings to have, I think, a minimum of 10%, which it could be 25% now, but I haven't been in the city in a while, so.
So this trust would have to make some decisions.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, this is just, this packet
And
here.
yeah.
But let me just comment that, thank you, Brent. It's not a new concept. We could find examples in other Cape Towns that have buy-down. I think Provincetown has a buy-down program. So we could see get some, cut and paste to try to put something together put that on.
I mean, ultimately, I guess it could be considered a LIP, or it'd be an LAU, you're working with the developers, and you just go through that process. It'd be the same way the fire station, because if you look at the LIP, it does say for sales and rentals. So I think you can do the LIP and then do the LAUs, and you don't really have to do, it's not a 40B. And it's home ownership.
Okay. Yeah, other, Jeff, anything else?
That's all, thank you.
Can I ask a
Good, yeah, Claudia, please.
So would the, I think this is the seasonal communities, piece, just because I know there's some things there that might be interesting, but we can't do tiny homes by right now, can we?
No.
No, okay, so only if that went through would we have
Right.
that ability. I think if that went through, that would be something that I'd be interested in talking about, but until, or if that ever did, then.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
more
agree.
concerned about the density of adding, I think the ZBA, is,
Mhm.
they want to know what's going on up top. Is it 5 to 10? Is it another 60 units? Because the land is there to do another Penrose. But I think this is where we could shift, because if you add 10 more units up there, we're going to be at 325 units. If everything we have in motion pans out over the next 5 years. That'd be a good spot. We need 329 to get to the 10%, but then again, we're always chasing the 10%. Once the census comes out and everything else, in the 2030. But, I just think it'd be nice we can control it.
Question?
Please, Bob.
Brendan, who do you see as bearing the infrastructure costs on this kind of a development? How do you cover those separate from the housing
You mean the
costs?
build itself?
Nope. I mean, putting in roads, putting in utilities, bringing all of that to bear.
Yeah, that I haven't really vetted that out yet. So that's once Bassett Lane is viable,
Mhm.
do we need a turnaround? Because Bassett Lane is not gonna dump into 124 as a right only. It could, but there'll be a new road in that plan. You can see I drew a new road, but I just want to give you a sense of if we did it by right, acreage,
Mhm.
setbacks, everything jives, and you can just make it work. But yes, the infrastructure, I don't know who would do the roads. I guess the town would have to be involved in that.
Okay.
So there'd be a cost associated with that with the town, or maybe the developer takes it on.
Okay. And a second question, if I can just follow that
Oh,
up.
yeah.
The piece of land that we don't currently own,
Mhm.
that's the missing tooth.
Yep.
How do we move that forward?
Well, I think.
I think if Bassett Lane is viable, I think we go to the select board and we ask for it to be transferred. They did vote on the 12th, so it'd be nice to know what their intentions are, and it is set aside for affordable housing in that motion. So it'd be nice to get that piece. I think that is their intention, but I don't want to speak for them.
I think, Jeff, that you voted to move that forward,
Yeah.
correct, the select board?
Yeah, and that'd be a key part of it as well, because we're talking acreage, and like I said, the lots I drew were acres, but you could take 30 feet off those lots as far as the depth. But then you really don't have access to the upper right-hand corner, because it's just the way the lots work out. I'm sure someone could do a different subdivision that works,
Mhm.
but I was just trying to stay within the parameters of all the setbacks and frontage and everything else.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Claudia?
Thank you so much. This is awesome. I like the idea of talking about it too, because I think that with the density, if we're talking about home ownership as an option for the second half, I feel like that sometimes might be more appealing for people as opposed to thinking, okay, because we could, right, do a high density as well on the other side, but if we're really trying to focus on ownership, it just might be a nice thing to kind of have out there as part of the discussion. So thanks for putting this
Yeah.
together.
Mhm.
Okay, so, thank you, Brendan. This was in more depth than I thought we'd get into today on the, starting the discussion. Because I do think that we need to start it. I also think that, Jeff, your point, though, I do think we need to be more mindful of getting specific public input in, because that's always, as you know, a struggle
Mhm.
in getting comments, so we can do that. My second, I don't know where to go with this. I want to start the discussion, I'm not rushed to come to conclusion yet, because I'd like to see the Pine Rose project get through ZBA, not get too much on our plate that we can I'm sure we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
I just think it'd be nice to have an intention out there so
Oh, I agree,
the
that's why I
public can
brought it
know
up.
where we're going, and there's not the fear of, there's already a traffic issue,
We can-
whatever ZBA pans out,
Mhm.
that
Let's-
there's not the potential, what
let's,
are we
uh,
doing with the upper fields?
Yeah, let's bring this back then
Mhm.
as as a continuing agenda item, Bob,
Mhm.
and we'll keep the discussion going so we have input. And we can still look at, I think, I'm not giving up the idea of getting more public input, whether it's a survey or whatever. Art?
Good afternoon. I'm assuming this is my time to speak.
Go for it.
Okay, thank you.
Identify yourself, please.
Art Bowden, Harwich,
Thank you.
housing advocate. And I'm here to talk about what you've just been talking about, proposals or options for the balance of the 456 property. And I think it's a good time to start the discussion for a number of reasons. One of which is, if you made a decision today, you wouldn't see a shovel go in the ground for 3 or 4 years. I mean, we know that that's the way things work. It doesn't work instantly. You know, there's a whole ramifications, and we see what's going on now with 2 sizable projects in town. The timeline is extensive. So, as I said, I'm here to talk about the balance of the 456 property. Recent discussions that came up in town between the 456 current project and the Pine Oaks project, one of the big talking points that was generated was the fact that we're developing too many rental units, and what about home ownership? We're out of balance. And it's a good point. It's a real good point. And I have to, when someone's got a good point, you have to agree with them. Whether you agree with them or not, you have to agree with them. And it is. So, we have to, and I think what Brendan is bringing out here, that's an excellent point. We got to tip the scale back, not necessarily to pacify the abutters and the people in town, but I think it's just a good idea. It's just a good policy. So anyways, with that in mind, I'm basically here to talk about my favorite subject, habitat community. Okay? We know who Habitat is. We know the quality of the product that they build and present. And I think this would be a good fit alongside the current project that's proposed for this property. One thing that Habitat, they build owner-occupied housing. They don't build rental properties, and they're all affordable, between 30% of AMI up to 80%. And you say, well, how the heck did they get that 30%? Well, because it's Habitat, and they can make the numbers work. And they do make the numbers work. And to it, just like what Jeff was bringing up about the ownership portion of it, the Habitat recipient, they have to get a mortgage. They have to qualify for a mortgage. No one, puts a hand on the scale or anything else. They have to have a down payment. It's a nominal down payment, and they have to go to a bank and get a mortgage. Fortunately, I believe it's Cape Cod 5 right now that's writing most of their mortgages. Used to be USA ADA. Did I say right? AD, yeah. But for some reason, the length of paperwork and so on and so forth, so they had to look for another mortgage, and Cape Cod 5 is now doing that. So that's just in the background. Anyways, and Habitat doesn't usually look for big tracts of land. Between 2 and 4 acres, they usually build about 4 units per acre. Depends on what the infrastructure is, you know, the configuration of roads we have to bring in and things like that. But you can count on, you know, say a couple acres of land, you're looking at basically maybe 6 to 8 units. More than that, more units. And usually their model is around 4 units per acre. And that makes a nice house. Now, I mean, there've been projects around, particularly over in Brewster, that when they got a good-sized tract of land over there, but the town insisted that they build on bigger tracts of land. So they went for almost a 1 unit per acre. And, you know, someone's gonna throw a stone at me for this, but, you know, I've heard the 1 house, 1 acre. And to me, I think, I had to hold my tongue on that because I wasn't in the room when the discussion went on. But I think that was kind of I hate to say it, not the best use of the land. Because now we got a Habitat house on a large chunk of land, which you could have put 2 or 3 other houses on. But that's neither here nor there. That's what the town decided, and you have to do what the town wants.
Art, where are you going with this? Because we're going to bring this back as more specific
Yeah,
discussion
okay.
next meeting.
So just to give you an idea, you know, probably 2 to 4 acres of land, and you can bring Habitat in, and I know their dance card is full for the next couple of years. So like, once again, I say, before the Habitat would come to town with a shovel in, it'd be a couple, 2, 3 years out there probably, on a good day. So, but I think we should earmark a part of his balance of land for Habitat. Another thing about Habitat, Habitat is a good neighbor. Habitat gets along with your abutters. And I've seen Habitat do things that, whoa, you put all those trees in, you built that fence, whatever the abutters want, 9 times out of 10 Habitat does. So they want to make good neighbors. The other thing is, I'm going to leave you with this. Habitat is a turnkey operation. You give them land or provide them with land, they do the rest. Go back to sleep. You don't have to bird dog them. You don't have to worry if they're going to fold. They don't have to worry if it's going to be on time or on and so on. They take care of everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. I think they'll have our process, though. To move forward, we'd have to put it out for, you know, same way we do with the Queen Anne Roll, the RFP, and get input and stuff.
Definitely.
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 So appreciate the comments.
Hi, Matt Sutphin. I want to support the thoughts of the previous speaker. I hope you will chase that thought, the Habitat for Humanity thought down. We certainly need to think in terms of home ownership. I believe the ship needs to turn around a little bit and the big boxes should stop. So I just want to stand up and support that thought as one that could be realized. A couple of things in the conversation earlier. The word forever was mentioned. Forever may be a challenge if it's not, the property isn't a trust property. I've had experience with that. And secondly, the road. It seemed problematic to me as a shortcut running between Queen Anne Road and routes and 124, kind of like Austin Road is in East Harwich, and it would need to be considered.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Matt. Any other comments? Thanks, a good discussion. What we'll do is, Bob's our agenda guy, so we can put this on. I think to both, to Jeff's, your point, and others, we'll make this a running discussion, and we'll invite people to participate, and I think we're all, well, enough said. Thank you, Brendan. Good. Love your homework.
Thank
I could copy that. I can't copy your expertise, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the discussion, well, minutes. Bob, we've had,
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the minutes of January 12th, 2026,
Second.
with the proviso that attached to the minutes will be the written form of the motion
okay,
that was made.
I knew you were going to say that, and that was part of my second.
Thank you.
okay, good. And do we, I can send an electronic copy to you if you don't have one. Because I've got it from,
Yeah, I think I've got an electronic.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Bob, next one?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the minutes for January 14th, 2026, and with the same proviso that the motion to approve that action be attached to as part of the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I know I just had a couple edits on that that came through, but Judy does a great job
Mhm.
putting this together. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Next on the agenda is discussion of the trust bylaws. Jeff, this has been an ongoing topic, and Jeff sent some thoughts on that. Actually, a bit ago, I didn't get it out until I thought, it's actually the agenda packet, I think, at this point. But Jeff, you want to explain your thoughts?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we navigated our way through town administrator vacating the seat, no, I don't think anybody could have predicted the unintended consequence of that seat becoming vacated. And, to keep this narrative short, I think we all knew I think we all know what happened, and I think we all wish that it doesn't happen again. We can only learn from things that occur. And this trust is important. Four people to my left are extremely important. And I think we all had feelings about what was happening and felt as if we didn't have a lot of control over what was going on. And, I've had discussions with other committee members, board members, some members in the public about interpretation of words and certain legal definitions. And as you look through the trust, it became apparent that it was ripe for interpretation. Well, I'll leave it at that. And interpretation, and there was conscious effort to interpret it in a way that I don't think benefited the trust, or the trust mission, or the trust's progress. And then other unintended consequences happened. Brendan picked up the torch and did one heck of a job, but there was a chasm of information that only the chair had. Because of the amount of work that a chair does, it's virtually impossible to have any of the rest of this members of the trust understand truly what the chair had been working on. So because of that, there became a fever to potentially find a way so that this situation doesn't happen again. And kicked around some ideas, and how the trust is going to be amended, or if the trust is going to be amended, isn't what I'm going to speak of or speak to at this point. I think what I'd like to do is offer the first step in a discussion that will probably take quite a bit of time. And obviously the select board will be part of it, because in our documents, it makes it very clear at least in my opinion, that if there's a change that this trust wants to put forward, it starts with the trust, moves to the select board for approval, and that's the process. So, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I'd probably just like to
Yes,
read
you
this.
should, yeah.
Okay. This is my attempt, I guess, at beginning the conversation and discussion about how maybe we don't have to go through that whole thing again. So, I won't say what the trust document reads now, but this would be some language that we may consider changing. There shall be, well, let me start by saying this. The select board appoints 3 members to this trust through the interview committee. The town administrator, in the current language, shall be the chair. Or the town administrator has the option to appoint a designee to be the chair. And then the select board will appoint, or shall appoint, a select board member to the trust. So as we sit here today, we have Bob, Claudia, and Brendan are the select board interview committee appointees. I represent the select board appointee, and Larry represents the designee of the town administrator. And as we all know, we are absent a town administrator at this point. So, we're in flux again.
Has Tony left?
Tony left last Friday.
Oh, I didn't know that, okay.
So we now have no town administrator, and I don't want to see what happened last time happen again. So, that's how the trust sits from 30,000 feet. My suggestion would be this: there shall be a board of trustees, the board, in quotations, of the Harwich Affordable Trust Fund, composed of 5 trustees. The select board appointee will serve for a term of 2 years or until the appointee ceases to be a member of the select board. That would be me in this case. In the event of a vacancy in the select board appointment for any reason, the select board shall appoint a select board member to the Affordable Housing Trust to fill such vacancy for the remainder of the unexpired term or a new 2-year term at the next regularly scheduled select board meeting, which must comply with open meeting law. So that would be how the trust would remedy if I don't get reelected next year, what happens, okay? Because my 2 years wouldn't be up, but if I don't get reelected in May, the select board would then have to appoint someone else. The 4 appointees of the select board shall serve for 2 years. In the event of a vacancy in the position of a select board appointed trustee, the appointment will be made within 30 days of the vacancy and in the same manner as the original appointment was made to fill such vacancy for the remainder of the unexpired term. The town administrator or his or her designee shall be an ex officio member with no vote. The Affordable Housing Trust should reorganize its officers at the first meeting in June. So what this cleans up essentially is, the town administrator will no longer be the de facto chair or his designee. And the select board will then appoint a 4th person to the trust. And then it also clears up who's the chair. So in the current language, the chair is the town administrator or the designee. Provides no provision for reorganization whatsoever of the chair. In my offer, I would like to see there be a reorganization where anybody can step into the leadership role. I mean, Larry, if you know, I don't know how long you want to be doing this for, but, you know, after 2 or 3 years, it's a lot of work, and I respect that. So, you know, maybe Bob or Claudia or Brendan or I could step into that chair role, or if it's another select board appointee. So it allows for reorganization. And then lastly, I think where this will help is the town administrator or designee will be an ex officio with no vote. So that in my opinion does 2 things. The first thing it does is it doesn't create a rift between a select board member sitting on this trust and having the town administrator sitting as the chair. That caused a little bit of a dust-up a few years ago with one board member and the town administrator who was the chair of the trust. I don't like that. I don't think it sets up for success for the town administrator, for the board member, or for the trust. And then lastly, having the town administrator be an ex officio with no vote, it still gives this trust access to administration in real time. So we don't have to, leave a meeting and go to town administration and ask, can we do this, can we do this, what do you think we should do about this? The town administrator's designee, it might be someone in administration, it could be, really anybody the town administrator feels would be beneficial to the trust. It gives us that immediate access and maybe even some answers to questions while during a meeting that we wouldn't have if the town administrator or his designee were not the ex officio member without a vote. So that's the summary of it, Mr. Chair, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
or-
I was just gonna say, thank you, Jeff. I support this for a number of reasons. One is I think the reason that I'm trying to remember back when we approved this, but I think one of the key things was we felt that we wanted the town administrator to have an input into the trust and have basically the link that you mentioned of help when needed, whether it was planning board or kind of whatever it was. But we could do that as an ex officio member without voting, have them on. I like the fact that this basically brings us in line with all the other committees, what the committee would vote for a chair and make that happen, which makes sense to me. I will point out, just a quick search, is that, look at Brewster, I got one, I think Orleans. Others have basically used this, variations of this model, but some of them run more members, 7 members rather than 5, but they all have the committee operating as other committees. I do think, Jeff, just to make one further link, as I look at what has to happen on this, our opportunity, if we were to agree with this, would be to vote to move this over to the board of selectmen, the select board, because they have to make the decision whether they want to put this on. It has to go to town article, I think, to be voted on. And so the select board would have to create an article. So we'd have to move fairly quickly. What's your deadline? It's coming up the end of the month?
Soon, yeah, very
Coming
soon.
up pretty soon. Am I right on that, Jeff? I think it has to go, because it's a bylaw change, I think it has to go to, I think it has to select board. Well, we could do it by petition, I guess, but that'd be kind of awkward. I'm not going there. I think the process is that I think the process is we were in agreement, we'd have to say, okay, we're in agreement with this and move it to the select board, and then you'd have to debate it there, and if they were in agreement, write an article and take it to town meeting. There is anytime you open up something at town meeting, there is a risk. Let's don't kid ourselves. They could open up other things that might make it more complicated or less complicated. But it would certainly simplify our life to have I think, the committee structure that you mentioned. So Brendan, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, just for clarity and process, that obviously reads like a bylaw, so it's gonna really replace the 141 appointment section altogether. I think we definitely vote for this. We share it with the select board so they can do the bylaw. And then what we're gonna do on the back end is, after that's done, we'll update the trust docs.
Yeah.
So that would be the steps.
But we
I
can
mean,
do that, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Claudia?
Thank you, Jeff. So just to make sure I understand, because I'm writing notes. So, we currently have the 3 members. You're saying we would have 4 board-appointed members. We'd keep the town administrator or their designee as ex officio, so no votes, but gives us access. And then we retain our rep from the board.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
You did way
perfect.
better than I did, actually.
All right. I'm trying to see
That's
if I
why
had
she's
it.
on the
Yeah,
committee.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a good note taker. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. It sounds really good.
Thank you.
Bob?
Two things. One is, thank you. No, three things. Thank you. We need, I believe our proper name is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So we need to include housing in that top line or second line.
Sure.
And I wonder about the effectiveness of having 4 votes on a board. If we have 5 seats on the board, 1 without a vote.
It would be 6.
Maybe 6.
There'll still be 5.
Only 5 vote.
The town administrator,
We'd have,
that ex officio would be the 6th
four,
member.
the rep and the designee with no vote, so that would be 5.
55C allows for you to appoint the town administrator with or without a vote. That comes directly from 55C.
Okay, so we would have 5 voting members and 1 non-voting member.
It would look just like this, but with somebody probably sitting over there as
Gotcha.
a non-vote ex officio member.
Gotcha, okay. I didn't track that. Thank you,
No problem.
thank you.
And also, one more thing, Larry, this was discussed, I forget which meeting it was, but it was in January, the select board brought this up, and I was at that meeting.
Right.
January 20th, I wasn't here.
It was, yeah,
Yep.
so I was
No,
called
that's
up for
in
that, yeah.
They brought it up in a general way that
Yeah,
we should discuss it.
Yeah,
So
we
they-
agreed the bylaw goes first, and then the trust docs will be sorted, but like I said, it'd be nice to vote on something like this to
But-
get in front of them.
Claudia?
Just a quick question, in terms of the transition with the new town administrator, do we know when they're starting?
March
I read that in the
16th.
paper, but.
March
Okay.
16th.
Okay, so is there a way, because like you said, the main point of this is not to get any disruptions within the trust. So are we able to put something in there about Larry being grandfathered in as this, or this would just something that the board would have to once again do and then be done, and then if that went through, then Larry would be sort of a regular member in terms of duration? Is that your thinking?
Well, then, you or me?
Well,
Well,
my
you're the one who
thinking
came
is
up with the
this would be a
proposal, so-
standalone proposal, we go to the bylaw, and we have to assume that that they're gonna leave us, stay in place as we are until the
Got
new
it.
town administrator
Okay,
comes in.
thank
And I
you.
would say yes, the language that's in place right now is the language that's in
So
place.
we can't order that until it goes to town meeting.
Got it. Okay,
So we're keeping Larry until someone tells us differently.
That's exactly right.
that's right.
That's the plan.
We're gonna be at the doors.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect, thank you.
So do you want a motion, Mr. Chair?
I do.
I'm not going to make it, I'll let someone else.
Bob, you want, since you had the edit, maybe you can make the motion with the.
I'll
with
keep
the
my
edit.
mouth shut from now on.
Before we do that,
A
Liz.
public comment?
Public comment?
Thank you. Elizabeth Harder, Harwich Center. My only worry about this is there's no accountability to the town. The select board is appointing everyone. And should townspeople have a problem with the Affordable Housing Trust members, for whatever reason, I don't anticipate any, but there could be someday, there's no way to have them removed. And I think what should maybe happen is 4 members plus a select board member, have each select board member appoint one of you, whether they actually appoint you or whether they just take responsibility for you. But that way, if they lose their term, then it gives the public a chance to discuss replacing one of you. Does that make sense? Because otherwise, you guys could sit here forever and ever and ever, and the town could be upset with what you're doing, and there'd be no way to
I
replace
can
you.
answer, I think you should.
Actually, I have the language if you want me to answer that. So it comes directly from the trust docs.
Okay, do that, and then I can.
So in the trust docs, Article 5, removal of a trustee, a member of the board may be removed from the trust by the Board of Selectmen by a majority vote after a public meeting or by failure to reappoint.
I don't share your concern, Liz, and I'll let Jeff speak next, but, you know, the select board has a process now with the interview committee that nominates the members to the full board. And so the very essence is the board's responsible for each of us, and they can let us go. And I know my tenure, we didn't do it often, but we did do a couple where we didn't, we asked them to leave for various reasons. So that's, I think that, I think we're covered, I see your concern, but I think we're covered with the process in place.
Yeah, I think it's
Is there a way to put in that, then that anytime there's a change on the select board, the list of board members would be presented to, let the town speak?
Yeah.
Have an agenda item at a select board meeting to say, and does anyone want to challenge anyone on the board?
Well, the select
Because
board,
there's
not to
just,
put
you know-
words in Jeff's mouth, but the board, they could do that now.
So if I could, through
it's
you, Mr.
all
Chair.
the board.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what problem you're trying to fix that's different from the way the procedure would happen today.
What I'm trying to fix is,
Prevent, I should say.
what I'm
prevent.
trying to prevent is, A, what happened a few years ago, and B,
What happened a few years ago?
we don't need to get into it, but, when the town administrator,
We're all talking, we're hiding between the thing you
yeah,
have.
when one of the ex-town administrators, was chair and did not treat other committee members with respect.
Okay, so stop there.
So-
because- No, I hear where you're going, and I don't want you to go further with that commentary.
I
But the
wasn't
board-
going to.
But the Board of Selectmen could have removed that person.
Right, the Board of Select.
And we do have a code of
could have-
conduct as well.
Could
so-
have removed that person who created the problem. They did not. The town did not support the person who created the problem. They supported the member of the board, but were ignored. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, that you get, the select board now will have ultimate power over the Affordable Trust. The Affordable Housing Trust is a separate entity of the town. It's not a division of the select board.
No, but the select board still appoints, they do have that power, so that there's a couple of things the select board gets involved with us, even though, like, our funds are to be held by the town. We don't have our own bank account, we just can't walk down to Cape Cod 5 and pull money out. We have to go through the town. They can appoint, they can remove, and they can also, the other request is to have the select board member report when we buy and sell property. So the select board is involved.
And
I-
what
I
I'm
think
asking,
less-
all I'm
less-
asking is, look at other affordable housing trusts on the Cape, because there are ways to keep it a separate entity, so that you're not just doing the town's bidding.
Yeah, but
That's
you-
all I'm asking for.
You have to follow 55C, the Mass General Law, and that is all laid out in that. So we didn't create, everything in the trust and even the bylaw, it all goes back to 55C. There's been mention that we copied, Yarmouth's, but Yarmouth still took everything from 55C. So I think, to Jeff's point, I think we have a process that works.
This- Thank you, Liz, I don't want to debate
Sorry.
much longer. We have a motion.
Nope,
Bob,
not yet.
Bob, are you gonna put forth a motion with your edit?
Oh, sure.
Sorry, Bob.
I move that we approve the draft submission put forth by Select Person Jeff Handler.
With the edit being is, shall be a board of trustees for the affordable housing. Well, that's there, right? So you're okay. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Jeff, do you still have time to put, timing's critical on this. Do we have time to put this on the
For next week.
next week?
Yeah, I will add the word housing
Okay.
to this. I will send it to you. You can
Yep.
send it to the group,
Okay,
not for discussion, but just so they can see it.
yep,
And then I will present that for an agenda item on next Monday night.
okay. Do that.
Or Tuesday night, sorry. Tuesday.
Do you want to come up?
Bill?
Just so we can hear you, or everyone can hear you. We can hear you.
Aren't all town meeting articles required to be filed by Friday at noon, 13th of,
Citizens petitions. Yeah, sorry.
We,
Could you state your name, please?
Bill Galvin, Cape Cod Chronicle.
Thank you.
citizens petitions need to be in by this Friday at noon.
I'd take a close look at the charter.
I will. Thank you.
I feel like I should know that.
No. But Bill, nobody else, yeah, he concerns me.
Not me.
Not you, good. Okay,
I'll find that right now while we're talking.
but it's okay.
Yeah.
We did, okay, next is the, Bob, you, conversation regarding the project management updates. I know we had a couple.
Okay, you want to take one and pass that down?
Yes.
This document is still in draft form. Once we approve the document itself, or the format, I would anticipate that it will be included with our agenda. And by the way, Mr. Chair, I personally had a very difficult time getting access to the agenda packet.
I couldn't make it work myself. I sent Sarah a note. I can't figure out how to open it. I kept going back and forth.
I
and,
could not access.
It sends me in circles, so I'm
It's not an
hoping
effective
that,
way. So thank you for sending that message. My intention in sharing this is to have a document that we review on a regular basis with our meetings that captures all of our different projects and gives us an opportunity to address concerns and issues with those projects. We've talked about 456 Queen Anne Road. I see that as moving forward. Pine Oaks 4, funding has already been approved. 265 Sisson, we are awaiting council, and the RFP has been considered. Bank Street and Bell's Neck, we're waiting for those units to come online, and hopefully that'll be soon. West Harwich Square funding was approved. The rental assistance program we've talked informally about, and those funds may need to be replenished. We'll hear more about those. They are now on the agenda for March, our March meeting. 0 Depot Street, we were going to apply for an MHP grant, Mass Housing Partnership grant. Can you tell me what the status of that application is?
It hasn't, as far as I know, it hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Okay, what are we waiting for on that?
Which one's this again, before I get,
0 Depot Road. There is a Mass Housing Partnership grant possible in the amount of up to $50,000, which could be forgiven.
What's this with Laura?
Well,
This
see, I
is-
thought
this
Laura was doing
Laura,
that.
But Laura's out on sick leave for a while, so she hasn't taken action on that.
Well, we're the ones that have to submit that. Who's taking the charge on that?
That's a good question. I need to follow up with that one.
Okay.
Let me, I thought you were going in another direction. I did sign, we did agree to do some soil tests on that property.
Well, we agreed to have soil tests and engineering take a look at 0 Oak Street and 0 Depot Street.
Yeah.
But we were applying for something more for 0
We
Depot
were, and
Road.
I need to follow up on that.
Okay, okay. Well, that's the value of this kind of a
We're doing
document.
it, yes.
We're trying to stay accountable here. The legal is, we've made a decision on that.
We have,
We have.
and that's been signed, and
That's great.
moving forward.
We do still have some missing executive committee meeting minutes, and that's on me to come back to you each about. I'll get those missing dates to you. The reorganization has been completed, the leadership plan. There's nothing in place as of yet, so we're not going to be talking about that. The financial report format, I shared that with you in a previous distribution, and I would like to just say that I have requested now twice from the Finance Committee, or Finance Department, a summary of all income and expenses that have been run to and through the Affordable Housing Trust, and I've received nothing to satisfy my request as of yet. I'm going to continue to do that, and
Bob, let me follow up on that. Let me push it.
okay, well, I also want to say that in that regard, I think that we need to be considering the possibility of hiring a bookkeeper for the trust whose job it will be to maintain that regular record. It's a collection of a lot of information, a lot of data, and my concern is this, that if we have a change in leadership who's in the position of being the go-to person to contact the finance department, that's going to break down. So I would like to think seriously about the idea of having a specific hire, or perhaps we could retain someone in the finance department to do that bookkeeping work for us. I'm deeply concerned about how much that's needed.
Now, Bob, I take that point, but let me follow up with the finance director and see, because those should be reports that are easily printed out for us. I don't know what's.
I absolutely agree with you, Larry.
And
Thank you.
Larry, should that be requested through the town administrator rather than us directly contacting? I mean, what do you think on that, Jeff? That should be an ask to the town administrator?
Well, the problem is we don't have a
Just
town
cur-
administrator for.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying in general, just
And,
general practice.
And,
Well, my understanding was that the finance director works for the Board of Selectmen, or Select
Oh,
Board.
that's true. That's correct. Yeah, how's that
but,
work? Well, we'll be changing things, but yes, go ahead.
I can speak to it this way. I think, Bob, you're right. The finance director works with the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator. And we're trying to make that a very smooth, collaborative effort.
Mhm.
There is so much on the plate of our finance director right now, trying to get ready for town meeting, the budget, and I mean, the amount of work that Jen Mintz is doing right now is out of this world. So, I don't want this trust to feel offended that we haven't received anything back from her yet. I would assume that it's important to us. It's probably not in the top 15 for her at this point. I am very happy to reach out to Jen and find out, when she can expect to even read the request. And I'm happy to do that.
If you, Jeff, in reaching out to her, if you would ask her if she could delegate someone that we could sit with and review the request, that would be most helpful from my point of view.
I can do that.
yeah, Jeff, to your point, I did talk to her a few weeks ago, and she's trying to help us put this report together. My additional request was, we're still, as you know, we're still waiting for transfer of the meeting from the last town vote.
Yeah, CPC and the stabilization
CPC
fund
and
money.
the stabilization fund money. And to repeat what Jeff said, she's aware of it. It's not going anywhere, but she has a lot of priorities going on right now. So she's going to do it as quickly as she finds a moment to do so. So I don't, she's been trying to work with it. I don't want to bury her right now and make a judgment that she's trying.
The last item is the operating document updates, and in fact, we've addressed that. So, again, this is just an opportunity for us to run through the different pieces of
That's great.
action
Thank you.
that are underway. Are there any changes to this format that you would like to see, or can we make it a permanent format?
I would only suggest a very minor edit, and that is, I'd put the date on somewhere on it. So when you
Very
do
good.
it, we know.
And then, Bob, do you want updates today on any?
Yes.
I can give you one for Bell's Neck. They are I think the lottery is about to finish,
Okay.
so that they're not waiting for the state approval anymore. Bank Street is waiting for the approval from the state for the lottery. I think they just submitted their regulatory agreements, leases, and their official applications, so.
That's very helpful to have. Thank you, Brendan.
Yep, and then, there was something else I had, I thought. I mean, Pine Oaks 4, you could put the dates, as far as the motions.
Yep.
Which was what, the 14th, and then the 12th for Penrose.
Yep.
And actually add Penrose. Oh, Penrose is there, yeah.
Yep.
So Penrose would be 1/12,
Mm-hmm.
and Pine Oaks would be 1/14. And then, West Harwich Square would be, you could get rid of the agenda item and just say motion 1/12. And whatever you want to put funding.
Yep. Thank you. Okay.
Great, thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Bob.
comments? This is a good procedure.
Mhm.
That brings us to the financial statement discussion. Proposal of legal services for 265 Sisson Road. There's been a little hiccup on communication, but I talked to we have hired a lawyer for that, and her name is Lisa Mead from, I forget the name of I sent you a copy of the fee structure. And she's going to actually start on it tomorrow, doing a complete review. And so that's moving forward. It's moving forward to do that. Yeah?
So if I could ask, Mr. Chair, what was her directive? What was she asked to do?
She was asked, that's an interesting question, because she was asked to review the lease and straighten out some of the confusion between the trust and the town. Because we have issues, I think, we've all had on liability issues, about maintenance issues, who's paying what, to straighten that out. So that's one of the things she's looking at. I talked to her this morning for a while. The other thing is what our goal is going forward. And I said, well, I'd like to, once we get some of those understandings, I think we've had 2 points. One is, for me, if I were very hopeful, can we look at that and say, is there a way we can put an RFP out for a developer to put some housing there, as the contingent is that they also do maintenance? There's a tie to junior theater. They help provide maintenance money for that. Is that possible? Anyone accept that? I guess, Jeff, to your point, the other one that we've discussed is, if we can't clear up who's responsible for maintenance and some of these issues, then I think we have a tough decision. Do we want to turn that back to the town? Because we're not in the business of running a business on the side. We're non-profitable. So her mission is fairly large.
What I'm interested in, and thank you for that, Mr. Chair, my interest is to make sure that we, this trust, has a very clear directive for council. And you nibbled all around
Yeah.
my
Right.
overarching theme, or our overarching question is if a member of our public drew a line, does the public have, let me make sure I say this correctly. I don't want any of the public to feel like the town of Harwich taxpayer money is subsidizing in any way, shape, or form a trust asset.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with that, right? So
Okay.
it's utilities, it's maintenance, it's all the things that go into being a landlord.
And we've talked about that. We'll talk some more about that, because that's certainly, you're not the only one that's brought that to my attention, as you know.
Yes, yes.
And so that is one of the queer subject, or the ideas on this is, who's accountable for what?
Well,
And- Sorry, let me just finish if I could. And then, if we could put together a list of things that we want answered, it would probably save the trust some money.
Yeah.
versus having her come back and, oh, well, we have one more thing, and we have one more thing, we have one more thing. I think it's important to streamline this.
Could we have her come here?
I would like to see her.
And the other thing, well, yeah, if we can have her come here, because it'd be nice to, the way I look at everything is that I don't think there's an argument on who fixes what. You know, for example, the elevator, if they want an elevator, they gotta pay for it. But if there's a fire egress issue, we pay for it. That's already in the lease, but there's language in the lease that says, if you have a problem, call the select board. So I think we are now the owners, we're now the landlords. I think the first step is just cleaning up the lease. You know, if it's to 2034 or 32, fine, just keep everything where it is, but just refresh the lease. At least start with that, and then we can talk. I mean, as far as,
And that's her initial
that's the first
direction, is to clean the lease up, it's
yeah, but
confusing.
it'd be nice to have
But
her
your,
come
but
in.
your point is, but Jeff is in, the next step then is to do the things, Jeff, you're talking about.
But how are we set up to collect monthly payment for utilities? And these,
We don't wanna do that yet.
well, we have to, at least until the several months it takes to either to get through the discussion of whether we turn it back to the town or not. You know, at this point right now, this is very confusing at the very least. You know, we're the owner of the property. The town is paying for the utilities and then getting reimbursed, maybe wholly, not wholly, it has to end literally immediately. And we need to know how we're gonna move forward. And you know what? Maybe this trust wants to become a landlord, and maybe this trust can handle it. To your point about a bookkeeper, that's an extension of what a person who operates the books for the trust could do. But we need a discussion whether or not we want to be in that role.
Right, we haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
We have not had that.
So,
Let's just fix the leases first. As far as keeping the building, being landlords and moving forward, I think that can be a discussion,
Well, go ahead.
you know?
Do you want to go first?
go ahead.
I think the idea of putting our questions forward, maybe emailing those to you, just so that you have what those questions are, and then she has what those questions are. I know in the past when we've done this, then they come knowing
Yeah.
what our questions are, and then we can ask follow-up questions. I think there's a lot of discussion around whether or not we want to be landlords and cleaning up the lease. Personally, I have zero desire to be a landlord, so I don't want to pursue one overall change in the lease unless we're addressing the others. So, again, as we've done in the past with these kinds of documents, if we can get our questions to you, get them in front of her, have her in front of us, and clarify some of that, then we, I think, can decide. I think right now, what we're trying to do is figure out what position we're in. I mean, maybe you all know more clearly than I do what position we're in, but if we are landlords, I would want out
Yeah.
immediately.
But
So,
keep in mind, the select board gave us that property for affordable housing. If we give it back to them, they're just gonna give it back to us when the time comes for that. So I think, I don't wanna give up the
Yeah.
asset. I know you don't wanna talk about it, but I've been dealing with this since I've been on the board. I've been asking for this. I've already had this conversation 5 or 6
Yeah.
times.
No, I'm not
So,
gonna question that.
I just wanna fix the leases, and then we can have a bigger discussion if we
Right.
keep the property or not. So,
Well, Bob sent me a list of questions that I did forward on to her some time ago. If y'all can send me your, Jeff, your questions, I'll do that as well. My discussion this morning was just, to Brendan's point, was first off, we need to understand the lease and clear that up.
yeah,
And then there's multiple things we need to go beyond that. So why don't we do that, and then I can invite her to join us at the meeting. We can talk about it. Does that, Matt?
Thank you. Yes, you brought up being a landlord, which goes to my interest to speak here today. Is this an appropriate time to?
Can you re-identify yourself?
Thank you. Yes, Matt Sutphin.
Thank you, Matt.
If this would be an appropriate time, I think I sense your interest is somewhat colored. I don't get any nothing clearly perceived that you want to be landlords. And I think that's something some of us, at least I would like to know, because I have my own ideas about housing in town, and they're on much smaller scales than 40Bs, my modus operandi. I'd like to see the town buying $500,000 houses, allocating $300,000 to plug in an ADU, renting it out specifically to 2 people that are town employees and 2 that do other things. In that scenario, you have, basically they're allocating $200,000 per wage earner, and it's not unlike what you've done at Penrose, where in my thumbnail, I see 28 million bucks for 60 units and 466 a housing opportunity divided by 2 incomes. It's close to that 200 number. So the smaller approach is the one that affords the it can be rent, but it also affords the possibility of rent to own, where you can throw, the tenant can throw some more money at the town. If they stay the term, they have the option of using that money as part of their purchase. If they don't stay the term, they can be given the money, so wherever they have to go, they have a down payment in life. But these are small little satellites that I hope your board will focus on. Admittedly, you know, I was a builder, and admittedly, when you're building something, your challenge is result, and it's often not considered. This would be my big point. It's often consequence after result is often not articulated and fully considered. And I bring that to you with the thought of Penrose expanding and the challenges on 124 at Queen Anne Road, Pine Oaks expanding, the big question mark of the Marceline salvage yard. I can see loads of stoplights up there. And in my mind, this board needs to consider those consequences as it searches for a housing result. I believe you will find that there are some people in town that are going to be challenging you to award money for 40Bs, because effectively you are superseding the town committees. You're not letting the town decide fully, vet fully a project. The 40B cuts out a lot of town oversight, and some of us will tire of that because we're not presenting our tax dollars to the town to be fully ignored. And there is the suggestion that this board might be ignoring us. And I encourage you to think about that, because I think it goes to how you will be perceived in the future. In the future. There's no, in my mind, you gave away a fair amount of money a few weeks ago. 30 years out, I think that money's in the pocket of somebody other than the town, and perhaps didn't need to be given. That money probably could have been used for buying a $500,000 house, throwing 3 into it, getting 4 people in there, and preserving an existing area, redeveloping it, freshening it, but nonetheless not throwing something big in the face of the town. That's the approach I hope you'll consider going forward, not throwing big projects in the face of the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Regarding this, and send me your suggestions, and I'll do 2 things. I will confirm that we want to straighten out the lease first, and then questions I'll send her, and I'll try to schedule her for possibly the next meeting so we can move ahead on this.
That'd be great.
Okay?
Thank you.
We aren't insisting that she be here physically present, right?
Right.
I would think she should be.
We
That'd be
can-
nice.
we can
Well,
accept.
or online.
Or Zoom.
I think a virtual would be okay.
Yeah, virtual's fine.
I just think at $2.25 an hour, that's,
Driving time?
yeah,
I think virtual's fine.
yeah.
Okay. Because we'll get her, because I think what you're all after is that we have a chance to quiz her, for her to understand what our goals are and quiz her on how she's going to achieve those. Okay? That brings us to the end of the, I forgot to put on the agenda, our next meeting is the, don't we have a calendar on
I
them?
think it's 3/9.
I think that's
It usually is.
3/9, it's the
Yeah.
first, okay?
I have a conflict there, but I'll try and shift it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Anything else?
I do, just some clarification for the board and for Bill, because I want Bill to know I stand corrected, and thank you. I went back through my notes, which is nice to have here. On 1/5, the select board voted to open the warrant. On 2/2, which is last Monday, we voted to close the warrant for submissions. On 2/13, the town expects final form of all articles. I think that's what you were referring to, both citizens petitions and select board articles. With the caveat that the select board can always vote to reopen the warrant, accept something, and close the warrant. So that becomes now another vote. So at this point, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with the chair,
Right, see, if-
and I'll do that tonight.
okay,
And
and we'll
I'll,
know.
and I'll have this ready and, or whatever, wherever it is, ready to present and hand in, with the vote of this board, this trust.
Okay.
And I will ask if we can have that,
If we
Yeah.
can't find, if not, we'll be ready for next time.
yeah, but,
It'd be a shame to wait a year, but,
and I understand that, and I would say usually, there's always something, a reason to, as you well know, to reopen,
Yeah, yeah.
accept, and then close.
Right.
So, it's not a huge lift, but, we'll see.
okay, thank you,
Okay?
Jeff.
Thank you, Bill, I appreciate it.
I was hoping you were wrong, Bill, just for the sport of it.
A lot of people are.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
for a second.
Second?
Thank you, Claudia. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.